Did you know that about 30% of all building projects which are started in Ghana are never completed? There are lots of factors that contribute to building projects being started and never being completed. Sometimes people just lose interest in the building project. Sometimes there's litigation issues. Some people are also leaving the country to other countries for greener pastures with no intention of coming back to Ghana. But many times it's because of financial challenges experienced during the building process. Now, this issue of people starting building projects and not finishing didn't start today. Thousands of years ago, a medical doctor called Luke wrote, "For which of you intending to build a tower doesn't sit down first and count the cost, whether he has enough money to finish it?" Now take note of the word tower because we'll come to it in just a minute. Now he takes it further and he says, "Otherwise, when you have laid your foundation and you are not able to finish, all who see it will begin to mock you, saying, 'This man began to build and was not able to finish.'" Now, if you're wondering, this is in the Bible, Luke chapter 14, verse 28 to 30. So it shows that people starting building projects and never finishing didn't start today in Ghana. In this video, we are going to answer the question that we get a lot. I have a plot of land. Should I build a story building or a normal house? And we are going to look at the factors that go into making any such decision coming up next. Building a house is a big decision that requires careful planning and budgeting. There are many factors to consider, such as the size, the design, the location, the costs, and the quality of the house. One of the most important decisions is whether to build a story building or a normal house, which in this case we are calling a bungalow styled house. Now, for the purpose of this video, we are going to define a story building as any building structure which has a ground floor and then any level above the ground floor. That is what we are going to define the story building as. Then the normal house that people are asking of is just the foundation, the ground floor, and the roof. So that's what we are going to call the bungalow styled house. Now, whichever option you do decide to go for, they have their advantages and their disadvantages. And so let's begin with the advantages of putting up a story building. First of all, the story building enables you to make maximum use of your land space. So let's say we all have a plot of land, 70 by 100. You also have another plot of land, 70 by 100. I decide to build a story building. You decide to build a normal house. But then we are all building like a 5-bedroom house. And that's what we are going to carry through the rest of this video. We are building a 5-bedroom house. The rooms are the same size. So there are 5 bedrooms, there's a hall, there's a kitchen, and then maybe there's a porch. And the rooms are the same size. There's also a visitor's toilet and bath. They're all the same size. If I decide to build mine like a story building, I can have 2 bedrooms downstairs and 3 bedrooms upstairs. So instead of utilizing the full plot, I can use like a half plot of land. Or I can even use a quarter plot of land, depending on if I want to add multiple stories. So I can do 1 bedroom downstairs, 2 bedrooms first floor, and then another 2 bedrooms second floor. And so I can build it on a quarter plot of land and maximize the rest of the land. I can use the rest of the land for a farm. I can do like a sporting side where there's a basketball court, there's a swimming pool. I can also use the rest of the land for like an event center. Whereas you decided to build a normal house, 5 bedrooms, same size as mine, you are going to maximize the whole land. Like, you're going to use all the land. You're not going to get enough space for a car park, a garden, or a farm, or an event center. If that's the kind of thing you want, that's fine. Now, if you're looking to maximize the use of your land, then you should consider a story building, especially because land is very expensive in Ghana. Many people are not even able to afford full plots of land. Most people who come into our DMs and emails tell me that their budget for buying land is between like 30,000 to 60,000 cedis, and they want land somewhere very close to town. And I tell them that as far as I know, there's no land selling in the middle of Accra for 20,000 to 60,000 cedis. But then I know land at Abokobi, we did an interview where land at Abokobi was selling between 120 to 140,000. So it means you can purchase a half plot for 60,000. And that half plot, you can put up a very beautiful structure on it. If you are constrained in terms of land, if you are concerned, you're a bit on a low budget and you don't have money for a full plot of land, you can go for a half plot or a quarter plot and put up a story building. Now we'll come to the cost later, because I'm sure you are going to start saying, but story buildings are expensive. Hold on, we are looking at the advantages first. Then next we'll talk about the disadvantages. Now the next advantage of putting up a story building instead of a normal house is because you get a better view. So if you have a story building like a 1 floor, 2 floors, 3 floors, you're at the top, you can see the whole place, especially if it's on a hill, you can see as far as possible, like your land is at Peduase, Kwabenya, and those mountainous areas. The view you get is just amazing, and getting such a nice view helps you to relax after a very stressful, tired day at work. Again, being at that advantageous height and you being able to get a good view also helps you with security, because when you install security cameras, you're able to get an even wider field of view than if you're on the ground floor. And then if you build on a ground floor and the people around you are like story buildings, they can just be looking into your house and see whatever you're doing. So you have less privacy. But if you have a story building, you have more privacy, because the people can't really look up into your rooms and see what you're doing. But from the top and your house is down, I'll just be looking down and be seeing everything that happens. And again, it's not really good for your own security as well. So on the issue of security and privacy, depending on how you build your house, the story building, and how you design it, you can decide that, oh, maybe you're going to build the ground floor and then rent it out, and then you will be at the top floor, and you and your tenants are going to have complete privacy. You don't need to even be meeting each other or encountering each other or interacting with each other, not at all. So you could put a staircase outside. When you come, you move your car, you move upstairs, and you have your complete privacy. Or you can decide to do like as many people do in Ghana, the ground floor will be like stores, a shop, then you live at the top. Or people even do like event centers on the ground floor with the visitors washroom and things like that downstairs. Then the top floor is where they live personally. I went to one event center, like it's kind of like a hangout, very popular place in Accra. They haven't sponsored, so I can't mention their name. And the owner lives in the house, but then the ground floor is a very nice garden setting with chairs and lights and all that. And it's really making good use of the space. They're also making money as they live there. And I went to another friend's place who does events for weddings and other occasions. So they have a very big garden space, and then they live in the house. So they rent out the garden space for weddings and things like that. So once you put up a story building, you are not limited. You're only limited by your creativity, but you can do so much more in terms of flexibility on your house. Then again, you also get good ventilation if you are on a story building and if you are on a normal house, because what's going to happen is on the ground floor, there are houses around you, there's even your wall and things like that, which reduces the flow of air. But on the story building, then you have unlimited access to air, especially if the buildings around you are all on the ground floor. Now, the final advantage of putting up a story building is that you can have more beautiful designs. Like I said, you have flexibility, so you can go wild with your dreams, and your architect can get inspiration from Pinterest or the internet. And then you would be able to get some mega designs that you can't really do with a normal kind of house. Having a story building, you can decide to do a porch and do some beautiful balustrades. Like, you can do so much. The designs, you can also do cantilevers and have larger rooms upstairs than downstairs. Like, you are just unlimited in what you can do. And because of that, the resale value of story buildings is usually higher than building a normal house. Because if I build a story building, 5 bedroom, you build a normal house, 5 bedroom, all of it on the same, like one plot of land. Mine, by just the fact that it's a story building, will sell higher than yours, which is a normal house. And so those are some of the advantages of putting up a story building. However, nothing is without its disadvantages. And so let's look at the disadvantages of putting up a story building. First of all, I'm sure you have already written it down. It is expensive to put up a story building. Really, really expensive to put up a story building. Let me explain. So for the same 5-bedroom house I was building, which is a story building versus your 5-bedroom house, the cost of my foundation is going to be higher than yours, because I need to dig deeper. I need to do excavation to a higher depth, or like it should go down, because it's going to carry a lot of load. So my foundation needs to be very strong. But for you can just start some foundation and just move on. Everything within a story building process is expensive. Again, because you are doing the ground floor and then you are building on top of it, you need to do your decking, then you need to do your floor. That can cost as much as the foundation. In fact, we did a building project for somebody, and the foundation alone was over 100,000. A decking too was 100,000. So there are no rooms, nothing, but the foundation and decking alone is 200,000 Ghana cedis. Person who wants to start the normal building would probably be on his way, like lintel level, about to roof or something. It just tells you that it is more expensive to put up a story building. Again, apart from the foundation, the decking, you need to also do soil tests, because again, the whole building is going to have a lot of load, vertical load, and gravity and all these physics come into play. So you need to do soil tests to see if the soil can even hold the weight of the building. Now you see that many a times when you see buildings collapsing, they are story buildings. How many times have you seen buildings collapse which are normal buildings? So it means that the load that is there, you need to invest more into the iron rods, the strength of the iron rods. You may be considering high tensile iron rods, whereas the person building the normal house will be looking at the normal mild steel iron rods. And high tensile iron rods are more expensive than the mild steel. Everything begins to increase. You need more materials, you need more labor, etc. For some people, that is one reason why they may want to skip a story building, especially if you're on a low budget, and then build a normal house and then move on with their lives. With all that I said about the first disadvantage of putting up a story building, you can guess what the next disadvantage is. You need experts. You can't just use normal masons and things to put up your story building. You need qualified experts. You need structural engineers. You need people who can do the soil sample test and all that. Because story buildings are expensive. If it's expensive, you need to do it well and do it properly. Experts are also expensive. And you may want to skip the experts, but that is a higher risk that you are going to take. Skipping or cutting corners is going to cost you more in the end than the cost that you are looking to cut. I hope that makes sense. If you watch up to this video, comment skipping or cutting corners is going to cost you more than the cost you are hoping to cut. And so you are going to need structural engineers, you are going to need people who understand load, they understand physics, they understand so many things when it comes to the ratios, the materials, the quality, the nature of materials that you are going to use. Which type of cement are you going to use? You can't be using 32.5 R grade and things. You are going to invest more into experts for your story building. And recently there was a building that collapsed in Ghana and the video was shocking. It went viral. It was a story building. It just collapsed. It just collapsed. Like the building disappeared, and watch it on your screens right now. And this is crazy. This is somebody's huge investment. And I can't say for certain that the person wasn't using an expert. But like I said earlier, when you see buildings collapsing, oftentimes it's a story building. So you need to invest more money into it. It's the same way that if you purchase a Lexus or a Mercedes-Benz or a BMW, you're not going to give it to a roadside mechanic to work on it for you. You want somebody who is a qualified mechanic, somebody who is a qualified expert when it comes to Mercedes or Tesla or whatever car you want to drive. If it's high-end premium, a Bugatti, you're not going to give your Lamborghini to a roadside mechanic at Kaswa to do. No, not at all. You probably want to bring in the experts from America, Germany, etc. to come and handle it for you. It's the same way with story buildings. They are expensive, they need delicate care, and so you need to get the experts to do it for you. If you're getting value from this video, please like and also be commenting your own advantages and disadvantages. Let's move on. The third point is that it takes longer for you to put up a story building than to put up a normal house. Straight from the excavation, like I said, it's going to take you longer to excavate the foundation or dig the foundation. When you are doing the floor, it's going to take you longer. And when you are building, there are certain parts of the building process you can't do anything about. You have to wait. For example, when you cast concrete, it needs at least 21 days of optimal sunshine and conditions to cure. So you need to wait. And when you are doing your decking, your slabs, your floor, etc., your columns, you need to wait for certain periods. And in Ghana, every month, inflation just increases. Let me give you an example. In July 2023, a bag of cement reduced to about 71, 72, all the way to 80 cedis. In October 2023, where this video was made, a bag of cement is selling at 110 Ghana cedis in most places. And so if your building project is going to take a very long time, then you're also going to be affected by inflation more than the person who's going to take a shorter time to build. Again, from even the architectural drawing perspective, a story building is going to take longer for the architect to design and everything than the normal building. If you're acquiring the permits for a story building, it takes longer than a normal building. Like everything about a story building involves time because it needs special attention. So you can't rush the process. And so if you're a bit in a hurry or you don't have much time, you also don't want to be affected by inflation, you don't have a lot of money, then maybe you should consider doing a normal house instead of a story building. The final disadvantage of putting up a story building, which most of the time you're not going to encounter in a normal building, is the issue of safety. What do I mean by safety? When you're doing a story building and there's additional floors, obviously it means you need to have a way to move to those additional floors. So you need to create staircases, or you need to create elevators, escalators, whatever. There should be a way for you to get to the first floor, second floor, all that. If you are creating a staircase, you need to consider, do I have what it takes to create a disability ramp or staircase? Because life happens. Sometimes you may get an accident, or you will grow old. Your knees become weaker. You may not be able to climb the steps and all that. Or you may have an elderly parent or family member who lives with you. So you need to consider all these things. Having a staircase, there's a hazard of somebody falling or rolling over. Again, having an elevator, electricity, the maintenance, the special attention, and all that. Then again, you also need to consider if you have kids. If you have a story building, you need to create balustrades to prevent them from falling over and things of the sort. Then finally, you need to consider safety in terms of if there's a fire outbreak and there are people upstairs, how do they come down? Or there's a disaster, there's something, there are thieves coming to your house, how do you get down? So you need to make all those considerations before you decide to go in for a story building, though it's beautiful, has high resale value and all that. Let me know which other points you think I missed in the comments below. And then we made a dedicated video where we spoke about some of the challenges and mistakes that people make when they are putting up a story building. So click here to watch that video, and I'll see you on that video. Thanks, baby.